Hi, my name is Faye Viviana and I am the founder of Hyph School. Welcome. Today we are talking about cold outreach, specifically as it pertains for actors getting an agent or a manager. Now, actors either massively underestimate it or avoid cold outreach completely because somehow we have collectively decided that sending a professional email introducing yourself feels desperate and cringe, which I think personally is a very silly belief. Meanwhile, people in literally every other industry do cold outreach constantly. Businesses do outreach, sales teams do outreach, founders do outreach, producers do outreach, directors do outreach, writers do outreach, and actors spend years waiting to be discovered. Come on. I want to challenge that because if you're serious about building a career, then I want you to look at outreach as not desperation, but as a form of professionalism. People need to know that you're a working actor. Now, before we get into this, I do want to say something very important, which is that cold outreach does not magically overcome missing or poor materials. You cannot outreach your way out of being unprepared. Also, there's more than one way to get in front of prospective agents or managers, and cold outreach is only one strategy. If you want my top 3 ways to get an agent, I have a completely separate video about just that. Today's video is just a deep dive into only cold outreach. So, before we talk strategy, let's talk foundation. Because if your materials are weak, fixing your outreach won't really solve the actual problem. So, strategy number 1, get your materials strong before you submit. I know it's not the magic pill that everyone wants. Everyone wants a magic answer, but it is so true. And the actors who accept this truth and take the time and energy to create a really strong package are going to get crazy different results than the ones who don't. These are just facts. It's not glamorous, sure, but this is where actors sabotage themselves constantly. All right? Let's start with headshots because so many actors here, you need new headshots, and they think, I need headshots, and then they just go get random pretty pictures, and that is not the assignment. Your headshots are marketing materials. They need to represent a clear casting type. They need to look like you, and they need to be a high-quality, industry-standard professional headshot. Their job is not primarily to show that you're attractive. Their job is to communicate your casting quickly and clearly, so that when somebody looks at your headshot, they can immediately understand where you fit or which show you could walk onto this week and you would make sense in that world. Can they understand your energy from this photo, your casting, your brand, your likely lane? Because agents are scanning very quickly. Very quickly. They are looking to see if you are too similar to clients that they already have, whether the relationships they have with casting directors are for projects and shows that you are actually right for, and whether or not they feel like they can confidently pitch and get you audition opportunities. So clarity is always going to beat complexity in that quick scan. Now, let's talk about a few headshot mistakes. So, too many looks that feel completely disconnected or don't even look like the same person. I have definitely struggled with this myself. Many actors want to show that they can be chameleons and they can play anything, but trying to accomplish that in your photos ends up being more confusing than helpful. Next is over-editing, super heavy retouching or costumey looks or changing your whole face with like a filtery retouch. These are images that don't look like you. You want photos that are not beauty or glamour shots. They need to look like you on video. And if you try to look like somebody else or someone who's already successful, this one really weirds me out, but I've actually come across it enough times that it made the list. Even if you constantly hear that you look like some successful or famous actor, do not then go and try to emulate them or take a bunch of photos to look just like them. It's weird, and it's not going to get you more auditions. So the key here is just be as you can be. You do not win by becoming more generic or by becoming like someone else. You win by becoming more specific and by more you. Now, here's another thing a lot of actors miss. Your materials are missing consistency. If all your headshots say grounded drama, and then all of your reel footage says broad comedy, and then all of your social media says influencer lifestyle content, and your resume is just mostly theater, people start getting confused. So clarity matters. It's okay to do many things. Just make sure that you have those things, all the things you do, represented clearly and easily found online. If a rep is interested enough to do a little deep dive on you beyond your outreach email, the last thing you want is to have that search confuse them rather than make them more interested to meet with you. Yeah? Okay, now that brings us to talking about footage. This is another major issue. So lots of actors will come to me and say, well, I don't have a reel. Like, that's just like the end of the sentence. Nothing to be done. And then they wonder why no one wants to take a chance on meeting or signing them. And, well, you need footage of you acting. Period. Reps need proof. If you have it from professional gigs, great. But if not, then shoot something. And if you can't afford a reel service or to produce a short film or shoot some professional looking scenes for yourself, then put together a killer self-tape reel. The majority of theatrical auditions are on tape these days, so showing that you can shoot a well-lit, well-shot, well-recorded, very well-acted series of self-tapes is a very important skill. It doesn't need to be at some very expensive self-tape service. It can just be your regular backdrop, your light, a good light, and shot on your smartphone. But it needs to be really good work. And it's the perfect way to show a few different scenes, a few different characters. Whatever you think your strongest 3 scenes are, show them that. Okay? This is so important. The no footage is a solvable problem. In today's industry, having absolutely no footage is becoming harder and harder to justify because it's getting easier and easier to do yourself. Do you need an expensive professional reel? Not necessarily. But if the acting is good and you can afford one, great. But could you create a high-quality self-tape reel? Yes. Could you create strong scenes? Yes. Could you build footage strategically? Absolutely. So why wouldn't you? Okay, quick note. Bad footage is almost worse than limited footage. Weak scenes, poor sound, distracting lighting, scenes where nobody can tell which actor you are, long montage intros, footage where you barely speak, unprepared scenes or self-tape scenes that just need a lot more work before taping. Those kind of things are going to hurt you more than they help. Your reel just needs to answer one question. Can this person carry professional work? That's it. And very importantly, front load your strongest material. Some actors hide their best footage like 60 seconds into a reel. If you do that, nobody's going to make it to 60 seconds, especially agents. They're busy. Get to the point. And ideally, get to the point fast, like right now. Put your strongest thing first, then your next 2 strongest things. Assume that no one's going to get to the full end. If you spend 45 seconds on a photo montage, no one's going to get past that. They just do not have the time. They really don't. So just don't set yourself up to fail in that regard. One more materials piece, your online presence. Ooh, sorry, I'm bumping this table. Can somebody deep dive you easily? Like, can they find your stuff? Your IMDb, your Actors Access, your website, your social media accounts, your resume, your training, your reel. Because sometimes what happens is, okay, your agent sees an email, maybe they're interested, they start to investigate. Don't create friction. Make it ridiculously easy to find more information about you. And before we move on, if I could quit hitting the table, it'd be great. I do have a free headshot guide link below because actors waste unbelievable amounts of money and time and energy making avoidable mistakes in their headshots. So I have a free, very simple guide for you. Please do not spend thousands of dollars fixing something that strategy could have solved first. Okay? Now, strategy number 2 for your cold outreach. Research specifically. Stop submitting blindly. I cannot emphasize this enough. And I speak from experience. I made this mistake early on, and it is not a good look. People can tell when something is impersonal and when you are just throwing spaghetti at the wall. Don't do it. Actors waste massive amounts of time submitting to agencies that are not a fit in the first place. And you don't need more submissions. You just need better, more targeted submissions, okay? And I want you to think like a producer here rather than like a lottery ticket buyer, okay? Research agencies. Look at their rosters. Who do they represent? More importantly, who do they not represent? Let's say you're quirky dry comedy, or you're grounded drama with authority, or you're a bilingual dramatic lead, or athletic action hero, or blue collar authenticity. Where are the gaps in the roster, right? Because here's what actors do. They look at giant agencies, they see a bunch of famous actors, they get all excited, they don't really do any real research, they just submit, nothing happens, it just disappears, and then now what? Could giant agencies happen? Absolutely. But boutique agencies often deserve way more attention than actors give them, and not all of them are like low access. Some of them are even potentially more access. They just have smaller rosters, okay? So they might even have more developmental attention, and they might be a much stronger fit for you. You ideally want someone who's representing both emerging and seasoned actors. And a good way to tell is by looking at their biggest and smallest clients by star meter on IMDb. Do they have clients with multiple episode guest star arcs or series regular credits on TV? Or with significant film credits, whether those are studio or indie films? And do they have actors with no professional credits at all? If you can start your search in the range that puts your resume in the middle of their roster, that is the most likely good fit category. You don't want to be their largest client, but you don't want to be their smallest client either, ideally. But then, of course, everyone starts somewhere, so don't be shy. Just be strategic. It took me personally 5 years of trial and error to find the right agent. And she actually signed me without any network TV or professional credits. I had only short films, student films, and web series credits. But she took a chance on me after I did a couple of showcases where a colleague saw me. I met with her. I did 3 audition scenes for her in person and an interview. And guess what? I have built the majority of my television credits up until now due to the auditions that she got me since then. So it's possible, don't give up, but I do look back now and think about how I could have been a lot more strategic those first 5 years before I met her. I could have been more specific and I could have done much better research. The first few agents and managers that I worked with weren't bad, but they were the wrong fit for me. And because of that, I ended up with almost no auditions for years because of it. And I was so frustrated. I just spent years frustrated that I wasn't getting very many auditions, and it could have been so easily prevented if I had had better research and strategy, okay? Now here's another thing. You need to know your casting. Please, know your casting. I know that actors hate to hear this conversation, but everyone's like, I have all the range. I can do all the things. And like skill-wise, yes, range, I believe you, and it matters. But for 99% of actors, the first few years of your career are not going to be about range. They're going to be about type and positioning. And you need that to build your resume and your experience first. And then you get to whip out everything you've been working on in acting class and at drama school. And you can dive into your range. But when you're starting, it's just not the case. So when somebody asks, who are you cast as? Or what's your usual casting? Can you really answer? You can't just say, I can play anything. I'm a chameleon. I can turn into anything you want, because trying to be everything makes you nothing specific, which just reads as generic and hard to place. And especially if you don't have professional footage of you to back up those things, you need to remember that the business at every single stage requires proof of ability, believability, talent, and professionalism. And it takes time to build all those things in every type. So start as specific as possible. Nobody casts everything. Specific is what books. General does not. Can you clearly articulate your age range, your archetypes, your strengths, your tonal lane, your energy, your vibe, your comparable actors? Can you say, I often book grounded authority figures. I tend to shine in dry comedy. I play intelligent professionals. I book younger sibling energy. Whatever it is, know yourself. Because the clearer you are, the easier it becomes for someone else to actually see where you fit. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Now let's talk timing, because timing does matter more than people think. Don't just submit randomly. Pay attention. Try to create some momentum before submitting. Are you fresh off a showcase? Did you just get some new strong footage? Did you just book something? Did your materials just level up somehow? Do you have some new photos or some new scenes to show them? Are you about to perform in a play or a comedy lineup or a showcase? Momentum matters. And very importantly, don't just panic submit, okay? And this is something so important. The idea that you are running out of time is a myth. And anyone who is trying to tell you that is lying, probably to themselves as well as you. But it simply isn't a race. It is a long-term, winding marathon. And in between all of the twists and turns, your actual non-actor life is also happening, or should be. And I apologize if you hear my dog chomping on a bone right now. She's being very loud. Anyways, so the idea that you're going to give yourself a set amount of time and make it or quit is like the number one reason why actors are miserable, broke, stressed out, and quite frankly, not making any progress. Build intentionally, stay in forward motion, put in the work. It does take a superhuman effort to thrive as an artist, but also enjoy your life. Spend time with your loved ones, have hobbies, be a full human. It will only make you more interesting as an actor, way more pleasant in meetings, and it will help manage the stress that comes with the uncertainty of a life in show business. Like, trust me, nothing is more unhireable than desperation, panic, and resentment. You're supposed to be having fun. Remember that. That's the key. If you love the process, it will be so much more rewarding. Okay? I just had to throw that in there. Now, strategy number 3. I want you to track your outreach like a professional. Actors, don't just email agencies in the void, and then nothing. Track it. Track everything. Make a spreadsheet. If you hate making them, I have a free download for you. It's super boring. It's a basic Google sheet, but it's done for you, so you have no more excuses. That's all you need. A basic Google sheet. Agency, contact person, submission date, follow-up date, result, notes. Ta-da! Casting alignment. Current roster observations. If you met with them, how did it go? Whether they passed on you or they followed up or they said, contact us again later. Because what happens so often is actors submit and then maybe they forget, or they submit again 6 months later, or they don't remember who they contacted. They never touch base with anyone again. This is how you lose opportunities. Now, the very first agent I ever signed with actually signed me because I had sent him a little postcard. I'm dating myself, but every time I did a student film, a short film, I took new photos, got a call back for something kind of on the larger side. It took 5 postcards for him to call me in. I didn't even live in LA at the time. I was in New Mexico, and I took an overnight train. I took the Amtrak, and I went to his office, and I did a couple contrasting monologues. I know I'm making myself ancient here, but I got back on that train, and I went home, and a week later, I took the train out again, and I signed my first agency contract. Now, that was clearly a really long time ago. I'm talking about trains and postcards, but hey, your girl was on a budget, and Amtrak at the time was only like $75 off season. But I will say this, he made a comment about my persistence. Now, had I done a little more research, I probably would have realized that he probably wasn't actually the right fit for me. He mostly repped middle-aged male character actors, and I was a 20-year-old mixed-race ethnic leading lady. And sure enough, even though he thought I was talented and great and was always really encouraging to me on the phone when I talked to him, I actually didn't get any TV or film auditions from him in almost 3 years. And I shoulda, coulda, woulda done lots of things different. But my point in this story is just that consistency does matter. Imagine if I had done better research and then been that consistent with a list of 10 agents that I was a great fit for. See what I mean? You have to run your career professionally. And you need to follow up appropriately. Don't email 12 times. Don't call repeatedly. Note that in my story, I only ever sent a note when I had news to share. Progress, a booking, new photos, new footage. You don't want to become memorable for the wrong reasons. You don't want to be remembered as being annoying. And asking someone to sign you over and over again is annoying. And in today's email era, a very quick way to get blocked or burn a bridge you haven't even built yet. So in general, if you send a cold outreach note, then one thoughtful follow-up 7 to 14 days later, and then you move on. And from then on out, you only reach out with news every 6 months. No asks, no hints, no passive-aggressive comments, just invites to a play you're in, film festivals that you have a project screening in, updates about a booking, congratulations on something that they have as a win if they have a client with a big win, inviting them to a showcase. That's it. And if you don't have any news for over 6 months, then you might need to be a little bit more proactive about creating your own work. But try to have a little update for them every 6 months or so. And be professional, not desperate, not bitter, not needy. Because rejection does not necessarily mean no forever. Sometimes it means just not right now. You know, maybe you're not ready. Maybe they're not ready. Maybe it's just the wrong timing, the wrong fit. They've got someone just like you. And this is where a lot of actors will emotionally spiral. They'll just hear no, or they'll just hear silence. And they'll just think, ugh, I must not be talented. No one's going to want to work with me. You know, I'm never going to make it. No, the industry is actually just far messier than that. Sometimes agents are overloaded, or their rosters are full, or your materials need work. Sometimes the timing just misses, or someone else just fills a gap better. Do not make silence mean something more negative or bigger than it does. Just keep building, keep improving, keep moving. So here is a little cold outreach challenge for you. Over the next 30 days, build a target list. 50 agencies max, 30 better to start, 20 even better. Research them thoroughly and then submit strategically, 5 to 10 per week. Only one agent at the office. Don't send to all 5 or 20, just pick one. Track everything. Follow up professionally. Build this list of people that you will now start to update every 6 months. And then improve your materials as you go. Build visibility while you go. Keep creating while you go, because this is another major mistake actors make. They stop building while they wait for responses. Never stop building. Representation should just amplify your own momentum, not create it. All right? Now, one final thought. A lot of actors think that once I get this agent, everything changes. And yes, your representation does matter. It can absolutely help. But agents work best when they're already amplifying movement that already exists. So always build your own momentum first, and then let representation help accelerate it. Please comment how it's going down below. I really want to hear your results. And if you found this helpful, please like and subscribe. Next video, we're going to go even deeper, because I am literally going to break down exactly how to draft a good cold query email, from subject line to structure, what to include, what not to include, some common mistakes, and some examples. Everything. So I will see you there. And if you like to work with me one-on-one, the only way to book is through the email in the description box below. I will never reach out to you first, and I will never ask you to contact me on a social media app or through WhatsApp. Please do not get scammed. Use your discernment, and I hope that you are having great momentum in your career. I will see you in the next video.